All right. Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Don't worry about me. I'm safe. I'm safe. This is okay. 100% safe what I'm doing. I'll explain why I'm in the middle of the ocean right now. I'll explain that as we get going. But I hope you remember the story yesterday. We heard about Prometheus and how he felt bad for humans because the animals got all the cool gifts, the running fast, the better vision and hearing and all that, and fur. And so he stole fire, gave it to man. Zeus didn't like that. Then he taught men how to cheat and say, keep the good meat for yourself and burn the bad meat for the gods. And Zeus really didn't like that, and so he chained him to the top of the Caucasus Mountains and had an eagle eat his liver every day. And then he also decided, well, I'm going to punish humankind, mankind, as well. And so he sent down a beautiful but silly woman named Pandora. That's what we're going to read today. A little bit about Pandora and then Deucalion. Okay, and that'll be today's Greek myths. So Pandora. Pandora was modeled by Hephaestus in the likeness of Aphrodite. So he kind of made her look like Aphrodite. He carved her out of a block of white marble, made her lips of red rubies, and her eyes of sparkling sapphires. Athena breathed life into her and dressed her in elegant garments. Aphrodite decked her with jewels and fixed her red mouth in a winning smile. Into the mind of this beautiful creature, Zeus put insatiable curiosity. And then he gave her a sealed jar and warned her never to open it. Here's this sealed jar, never open it. Hermes brought Pandora down to earth and offered her in marriage to Epimetheus, who lived among the mortals. Epimetheus had been warned by Prometheus never to accept a gift from Zeus, but he could not resist the beautiful woman. And thus Pandora came to live among mortals, and men came from near and far to stand awestruck by her wondrous beauty. But Pandora was not perfectly happy, for she did not know what was in the jar that Zeus had given her. It was not long before her curiosity got the better of her, and she had to take a quick peek. You saw this coming, I'm sure. The moment she opened the lid, out swarmed a horde of miseries: greed, vanity, slander, envy, and all the evils that until then had been unknown to mankind. Horrified at what she had done, Pandora clapped the lid on just in time to keep hope from flying away too. Zeus had put hope at the bottom of the jar, and the unleashed miseries would have quickly put an end to it. They stung and bit the mortals as Zeus had planned, but their sufferings made them wicked instead of good, as Zeus had hoped. They lied. He's talking about people now, humans, us. They lied, they stole, and they killed each other. And they became so evil that Zeus, in disgust, decided to drown them in a flood. Hey, that's why I'm in the middle of the ocean. Drown them in a flood. But there was one man on earth who had not turned evil. He was a son of Prometheus, and his name was Deucalion. So when you're looking at this in the book, make sure you look at the pictures of scolding, deceit, despair, accusation, envy, lies, distrust, old age, gossip. Gossip, it shows in the picture, shows this cherub things, throwing up or coughing out a bunch of little flies and stuff and bugs. Scheming, drudgery. Yeah, look up those and see if you've ever done any of them. All right, so let's look at Deucalion then. Deucalion often went to the Caucasus Mountains to comfort his suffering father. Remember his dad chained to the mountain and the eagle would eat his liver every day? He could not break the chains that bound him, but while he was there, he could keep away the eagle that tortured Prometheus. Deucalion was a good son, and his father was thankful for his help. Prometheus, who could look into the future, knew that Zeus was planning to flood the earth. He told his son to build an ark and board it with Pyrrha, his virtuous wife. Now, we've heard this before. We've heard of Noah's ark and the flood, and God saying to Noah, build an ark. And now we have here Deucalion doing it. It's interesting that these were also written in similar times. I think some scholars would say this one is a little bit older than the one from the Old Testament. But the idea of flooding the earth it was not a new idea. I think that it was written down several times. Deucalion did as his father had told him. He built a sturdy ark, and when Zeus let loose all the winds and to open wide the floodgates of the sky, he went aboard with Pyrrha. For 9 days and 9 nights it rained until the whole earth was flooded. Nothing but the highest mountain peaks remained above water, and all mortals were drowned. Only Deucalion and Pyrrha were saved. They floated in their ark over the deep, dark waters. On the 10th day, the rain stopped, and slowly dry land began to appear. Deucalion and Pyrrha stepped out of the ark and walked about on the desolate earth. Lonesome and forlorn, they came to a temple grown over with seaweed and entered it. The sacred fire on the altar had gone out, but they lit it again with the embers they had kept glowing aboard the ark, and lifted up their hands in prayer to the gods to thank them for saving their lives. Zeus was touched by their piety and felt sorry for them because they were so lonesome. He spoke to them and said, "Pick up the bones of your mother and throw them over your shoulders." Deucalion understood that Zeus did not mean their mortal mothers, but their mother Earth. Rocks were her bones. He told Pyrrha to pick up a handful of stones and throw them over her shoulder, while he did the same. Behind Deucalion, a score of men sprang up, and there behind Pyrrha, a score of women. This new race of mortals was called Deucalion's race. The Deucalion race, made from stone, was hardier than the one made from clay. The new mortals withstood better the stings of Pandora's miseries, which of course had flown high and dry during the flood and plagued mankind to this very day. So yes, we are plagued by these things. And I think I got to check to see if I'm going to keep reading or not. 79. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So the winds had carried on as they wished when Zeus flooded the earth. They were powerful fellows. And when they stormed together, they brought confusion and destruction, whirling dust and water all the way up to Olympus. Zeus decided that they needed a dependable guardian who would keep them locked up and let out only one at a time. He chose Aeolus, a grandson of Deucalion and Pyrrha, to be the keeper of the winds, and sent him to live with them and guard them in a hollow cliff far out at sea. The winds hated to be confined. They stormed and howled around Aeolus, trying to force their way out of the cavern. But Aeolus was steady and strong and kept them in hand. When Poseidon or one of the other gods called for a wind, Aeolus pierced the wall of the cliff with his spear and let the wind out. Then he plugged up the hole and kept it closed until it was time for the wind to return. When Boreas, the north wind, was called for, he rushed out icy and wild, tearing up trees and piling up waves in front of him. When Notus, the south wind, was let out, he pressed himself, groaning through the hole in the cliff. He was so heavy with moisture that water dripped from his tangled beard, and he spread a laden fog over the sea. Wanderers lost their paths, and ships drifted helplessly about. Zephyr, the west wind, was gentler than his brothers. When he blew, he swept the sky clear of clouds, and all nature smiled. Eurus, the east wind, was the least important of the brothers. He wasn't called for very often. So obviously in Greece, there is no easterly wind, or at least it's very rare, the easterly wind. Anyway, I think that's it, and we will get on with the story of Eos tomorrow. Until then, we'll see you. You guys have a great day. Enjoy yourselves, get your work finished, and take care. Bye-bye.